All right, let's dive into a kind of modern parable, one that looks at our energy and our relationships like a bank account. We're going to talk about the hidden costs, the really bad investments, and what happens when you hit, for lack of a better term, spiritual bankruptcy.
It's a scary thought, right? And it's a question most of us never think to ask, at least not until we're already deep in the red. This story is all about that very idea. What happens when you give every last bit of yourself to someone who only knows how to take? Let's meet our main character, who is about to find out the hard way.
Okay, so picture this, a mall food court. You know the vibe. The AC is blasting, but our protagonist, Abby, looks like she's absolutely melting. She's at one of those wobbly little tables, desperately dabbing at a coffee stain on a leather jacket that isn't even hers. The guy wearing it is Jax, and his whole vibe, man, it's like walking straight into a deep freeze.
And there it is. With one sentence, Jax just lays all his cards on the table. See, he's not just having a bad day. His entire worldview, his whole personality, is built on this foundation of self-pity. This isn't just a temporary mood, people. It's his permanent mailing address. And Abby, she's about to start paying his rent.
I mean, just look at this ledger. It tells you everything you need to know, doesn't it? This isn't a relationship, it's a completely one-sided transaction. Every single thing Abby gives is met with complaining or ignoring or just nothing. She's a giver, he's a taker. As her friend Evan points out, the math just doesn't add up.
So why does she stay? Why does she keep trying? Well, here's her reasoning. She's caught in that classic trap, right? The I can fix him trap. She sees herself as a rescuer, the one who can unlock all this hidden potential she thinks she sees in him. She's not in a relationship, she's taken on a full-time renovation project. But the problem is, you can't fix a house that loves being a ruin.
Okay, so everything we've seen so far has been on the surface level, the stuff you can see and hear. But now, we're going to peel back the curtain and look at what's really going on an energetic level. This is where a spiritual guide, named Lord Blue, shows up and reveals the hidden mechanics of this whole thing. And trust me, it's a lot more than just an unhealthy dynamic.
And this is the absolute kicker. All that energy, all that light and love that Abby is pouring into Jax, it's not actually filling him up. It's not healing him. It's just being destroyed. The guide calls him a black hole. The energy doesn't build him up. It just vanishes, feeding this bottomless pit of victimhood. It is, by definition, an investment with absolutely zero return.
So, these are the mental traps that are keeping Abby stuck. First, you've got the fallacy of change, this idea that her love can magically fix him. Then there's the heaven's reward fallacy, the belief that if you suffer and sacrifice enough, the universe has to give you a happy ending. And the big one, the internal control fallacy, where she believes his unhappiness is somehow her fault, so it's her job to fix it. It's a perfect storm for self-destruction.
Let's look at this from two totally different angles. In Abby's head, she's doing a good thing. She's being helpful, loving, sacrificing. But her friend Evan comes in with a major reality check. He sees it for what it is. A very simple, very harsh equation. She gives, he takes. That's it. He flat out calls it a robbery, not a relationship.
And this brings us to the perfect term for what's going on here. Jax is an emotional vampire. It's so accurate, right? He literally feeds on her validation, on her guilt, on her energy. And you have to ask yourself, as long as she's serving up an all-you-can-eat buffet of her own life force, why would he ever bother to get up and find his own light? He has zero incentive to change. So what's the end game here? What happens when she keeps on spending from an account that's already empty? Well, the story jumps ahead 3 days. Her account isn't just low anymore, it is completely overdrawn. And the consequences are way, way worse than a simple bank fee.
3 days. Just nothing. For a person like Abby, who is always online, always fighting for some cause, always on, 3 days of total radio silence is like a giant, flashing neon red flag. It's a sign that something is terribly, terribly wrong. The Bank of Abby is officially closed. Her friend Evan goes to check on her, and the scene he finds is just chilling. She's locked herself in her room, and as music is leaking out from under the door, music with a beat that sounds like a heartbeat missing every third thump. It's a rhythm designed to literally slow your energy, to drain you of any momentum you have left. This is not just sadness. This is a whole other level.
When Evan finally gets into her room, this is what she says to him. And the scariest part, she sounds exactly like Jax. His worldview has completely taken her over. She's exhausted, she's hopeless, she believes in nothing. This is what spiritual bankruptcy looks like. There is nothing left in the tank. She has hit zero.
But the story doesn't stop there, because Lord Blue shows up again and explains that this isn't just about Abby being sad. When your energy is that low, when your spiritual bank account is that empty, you've basically left the front door wide open, and now opportunistic negative energies have come knocking.
The guide calls them vultures, and they have names. There's Depressa, this heavy, crushing entity of depression, and there's Annihilator, a sharp, whispering shadow of suicide. By personifying them, the story makes it clear this isn't just a feeling inside her head. This is an external attack, preying on her because she's vulnerable.
So how in the world do you fight something like that? Not with a conversation. You have to fight darkness with light. The guide gives Evan a very specific 4-step procedure. First, you invoke a higher power. You call in the big guns. Second, you bind these dark entities. Third, you cut the cords, you sever their connection to Abby. And fourth, you seal her aura to protect her from any other attacks.
So Evan performs the ritual, and in that moment, an unseen flash of blue lightning just cracks through the room. The entities are shattered, banished. The creepy music on the stereo just cuts out, and Abby lets out this huge gasp like she's waking up from a terrible nightmare. The weight is just gone. It's a total energetic reset.
The immediate crisis is over. The vultures have been kicked out. But that doesn't fix the original problem, right? Her cup is still empty. So this final part is all about the real lesson, the one that Abby and really all of us have to learn about managing our own spiritual energy. And here it is. This is the first and most important rule of being a spiritual investor. It's so simple, but we forget it all the time. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You just can't give what you don't have. Abby tried to be a savior for someone else while she was bankrupting herself, and it almost destroyed her completely.
This is the huge mindset shift that has to happen. Abby thought her value came from how much she could sacrifice. But the real lesson is that your worth is inherent. It's just there. You're worthy because you exist. You're not supposed to be a martyr. You're an investor. And your #1 job is to build up your own assets so that your light can then naturally overflow to others.
And that brings us right back to you. It's the question we all have to ask ourselves. Take a good, hard look at your life, your relationships, your job, your commitments, all the places you spend your precious energy. Are they good investments? Are they building you up? Or are they emotional black holes, slowly draining you dry and bankrupting your spirit? At the end of the day, that choice is always yours.